welcome to the Neville Richards Premier League. Jeez, I sound a bit flat then. It's just been a
big weekend, Hazy.
Been a tough weekend, Matty. I'm really struggling. Anyway, I'll bounce back. Matty Milk, Mark Hayes, the Neville Richards Premier League show. Welcome.
Thank you, Mark. It's a pleasure to be here on a Monday morning again. I feel a bit normal now after last week's Tuesday night session, but yes, good here on a Monday morning.
It is. We should never say that we dislike public holidays, though.
No, they are good. They are good to have. But yeah, no, it's a pretty bleak morning here today. I can see we've got 4 golfers heading out there at the moment for a game. But yeah, after a bit of rain, and yeah, she's very fresh this morning. Hence the Travis Matthew jacket on. Yeah, nice and warm.
Sharp. I like it. Now it was pretty rugged conditions on Saturday. She was pretty blowy for a lot of people. A lot of talk about the wind. Did have a massive impact on scores, didn't it?
It was tough. It was our worst scoring round for the season, yes. We actually didn't get one team score 200 this week, so that shows how tough it was. But credit to you all for turning up and playing and putting your best foot forward, or most people put their best foot forward anyway.
Present company may be excluded.
We'll get to that later, Mark.
Oh, great. Hookers and Tornadoes are the first game we're going to review. The Hookers they just can't find it, maybe?
They can't, no. Tornadoes, 196, smashed the Hookers. They finished on 172. Hookers had 8 players this week. Couple extra from what they had the previous, while the Tornadoes had 11. Actually, Tornadoes win the Callaway golf balls again this week with their 196, so that's 2 weeks in a row for them. So for the Hookers, Stewie Anderson returned back with 33, Chris Dodds 31, Dan Hopgood 29, Pat Kennedy 27. Chris James scored 2 weeks in a row.
Well done, Chris.
26, and Soupy Collins 26, while for the Tornadoes, Alan Kerry, last group in, 38 points, actually won the comp of the day, best scorer of the day, and also the Travis Matthew polo. So well done, Alan. You can collect that from the pro shop. James Finch, 34, Ando Wooten, 33, Colliesbell, 31, Dale Pollock, 31, and Toot Madden, 29. He got on there for a score this week.
Toot Madden.
Yeah, Toot. Just likes to drive a train around. So, yeah, Toot. He's now known. The Hookers had their usual players contribute with Stewie Anderson, Chris Dodds, Dan Hopgood. But unfortunately, their teammates couldn't produce. As I said, Chrissy James, 2nd week in a row, but it was only 26. So, probably just through lack of players that he scored this week. And the Tornadoes had a couple of Golf Premier League virgins lead the scoring for them in Alan and James, while our PPP member Ando had 33. Looked like he got a little tired on the last 9 since he had some things occurring on the night before, some antics. So we won't go into that any further, but yeah, I think maybe got a bit tired on the back 9.
And some antics.
Yeah, well, yes, it's I'll leave that to your imagination. And yes, Toot. He was found the scoreboard for the first time in 5 weeks.
What about a book here for Finchy?
Yeah, yes.
What do you think?
Yes, he was good. He was out early, probably in, you could say, the more difficult conditions there, and to put in a score for 34 for him to his team was a good effort. That got him off to a good start. So now with that win, the Tornadoes move to 2nd on the ladder.
Yes.
Sets up a mouth-watering contest in 3 weeks' time against the Sinking Pirates.
The Sinking Pirates. Well, of course, the gap is the mid-season break. We've got 2 weeks off here for the next couple, so we're going to do a bit of a summation of the season so far in a minute in a Milne Missile special. But for now, let's push on. The next game we want to look back on is the Peakers and the Bullies. The Peakers, speaking of teams that are going down the tubes fast.
Well, Madonna no paka we kasuda.
Please explain.
Peakers are poo. They lost 192 to 177. The Peakers actually had all 12 players on the park. They call to arms worked, but they were just rubbish.
Wow.
For the Peakers, Darren Tickle-My-Doodah Wilson, 33, Flanders 30, Ken Latta 29, Yanni Lathouris 29, Lloyd Shepherd 28, Marion Keskinen 28. You'll notice one big name's not in that scoring for the Peakers. While the Bullies, they were led superbly. Sean Rodwell 35, Richard West 34, Ross Gibb 34, Bearall Foot 32, Jackie Rowe 29, and Cuz Stevens on 28. with the scores there.
Wow, he scored with a 28.
But yeah, Peakers can't take a trick. As I said, 12 players all turned up. It was looking positive early though. The morning players of the Peakers actually counted the morning players of the Bullies, and it was looking quite positive. But Sean Rodwell, Ross Gibb, Richard West all sort of in the afternoon dominated. I think Ange Foote might have found some putting form there. But the Peakers, their PM players were disappointing. Like Rob Stiglbauer, he became injured, so he didn't finish. Maybe could be excused. Ken Latta, Lloyd Shepherd, Marion Keskinen, their scores counted. Probably could be excused. But for David Milne, stop worrying about your horses and concentrate on your golf. Stop worrying about your putting as well. Barry Doyle, I think he might have been still in Thailand mode.
Oh.
Mike Kerry, obviously your brother Alan is a far superior golfer and better bloke than you. And Lynn Kirby.
Yeah,
You're an all Portarlington player.
Yeah.
Who would have thought your husband Paul has contributed more to his team than you have this season?
Oh, Lynn.
And the final one should hang his head in shame. Lee McMuffin. You gloated last year that you were the Premier League specialist. You were Drayton Medal favourite. You should have won. 22 points on Saturday. You're obviously now a Premier League tosser. I think the team over this 2-week break is going to have a team bonding session.
Really?
Maybe in Antarctica.
Well, they couldn't go further south than where they are at the moment.
Yep.
So 0-7, dismal percentage. It's a long way back. It's going to need a...
We have got some positives in our round 8 preview, Hazy, for them.
Oh, okay. Well, you're going to need to dig pretty deep. I reckon.
But the Bullies were good.
Is it mathematically possible?
It can still happen. I've got faith. But the Bullies were great. Like they've now, although they're sitting 6th on the ladder, they're actually just out of the top 4 on percentage. That's how even the ladder is this season.
Well, they're only a game off the top.
Top, yeah.
So the ladder is, we'll come to that in a minute, but it's jam-packed at the moment. I want to talk about the next game. Very important game it was, the Goblins and the Crusaders.
Yes, Goblins actually got over the line, took the Crusaders down 188 to 173, and it was a Herculean effort by the Goblins. 7 players.
Did they really?
Only had 7, and they still got over the top of the Crusaders that had 10. For the Goblins, Steve Evans, 35, Pat Peacock, 35, Barry Benson, 33, Judy Said, 30. The Buzz, Ian Burrell, only had 28, so he lost his dirty 30 money to you guys.
Yeah.
Trev Thompson, 27. While the Crusaders, Nipper Dodds, he was the best with 35. Snags Finnemore, 30. Bobby Gibbs, 30. Jan Cogger, 27. Pohead Thompson, 26. And then 25 was counted, and there was Cooper, McMurray, Johnny Rowe, and Stan Maskell. So one of their scores counted in that, but it was a disappointing day for the Crusaders. They had everything in their favour, ladder position, opposition only had 7 players, Crusaders were the highest scoring team. They had the confidence, and what they dish up, their worst performance of the year. A score of 25 counted. Although they lost, they still remain on top of the ladder going into the bye.
I've got a couple of the spare of these books I should have mentioned. So it's the Golf Course Guide, some great discounts all around Australia playing golf. I was going to give one to Sean Rodwell from the previous game, but there's a couple there I'd like to help out the Goblins. I think this is Evans and Peacock, particularly Pat. Pat's been...
She's the stalwart. We'll get into that later in our little mid-season review.
But both them, I think they're both worthy of a book. Well done. Gee, that's a good effort with only 7 players to...
It was, yeah.
shoot so well.
As I said, the Goblins were great. They were undermanned. Like Stevie Evans, he's warming to Premier League. Started off a bit slow, but he had his best score for the season.
Nice
5th
work,
time
Steve.
his scores counted as well. The ever-reliable Pat was there. You need to play every week, Pat, if your team's to keep going. The Goblins were missing Josh Kent, Richie Howes, Peter O'Neill. Peter O'Neill rolled his ankle morning of, took the dog for a walk, and not sure whether he was intoxicated from the night before, but he reckons it was walking the dog. Rhino was obviously in the UK. Rico, Sawback. So, but yeah, Ryan does send his regards from the UK, though, Hazy.
It does. We've got a very special video special to the Neville Richards Premier League preview review show here, all the way from Buckingham Palace.
Yes, it's a good one from Rhino there, so we'll get to that in a sec. But yes, we've got to highlight the Rickometer this week too.
Oh,
We've got everything going today, like Cliff.
oh, I thought you were going to do the video.
No, we're going to do Rickometer and then we're going to go video, Hazy, I reckon.
Oh, okay.
If that's to our editorial splendour.
I like the way you're running it.
Yeah, but the Crusaders, Cliff McCorkle, you are a disgrace. You've gone 40, 28, 30, 29, 22, and then 21, 21.
Pair of 21s.
Pair of 21s.
You in the casino.
You are on the Rickometer this week.
Are you? Wow. That's and it's getting worse and worse, the Rickometer.
It is, but
To join the great man on the Rickometer is something special.
Considering someone's had a 40,
yeah,
that to have slid so far down the slope there, that would be very, very enlightening for him.
Is it video time now?
Yeah, we'll go to Rhino.
Direct from Buckingham Palace.
Mahama, Milne, Hazy and the Goblins crew, it's the Shake here. Just walked out of a meeting with old mate Charlie. Do like to catch up with him when I'm in town and we just talk racehorses and whatnot. But I tell you what, he does absolutely speak more shit than Flanders. I've never met a man that's worse than Flanders. Well, maybe Charlie might be it. Anyway, Milne, while we're in there, he did say he got your application to be a beefeater, but he did mention that you do know that they do more than eat steak. He said all your application was about was how you like an eye fillet well done with lots of tomato sauce. Anyway, Goblins crew, keep on winning for me, guys. I'd love to come back to another sleeve of balls, so if you can score really well this weekend, that'd be great. Well done on the win last weekend, and I'll see you soon.
Amazing where we've got contributors from, Matty. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable too, as you noticed by the video.
He is. He's extremely knowledgeable, especially about Flanders, actually.
Yeah.
All right, so the fourth and final game that we want to review is the Warriors, the mighty Warriors.
Your team, Hazy.
And the Pirates. They've stopped as if shot.
Pirates went down again. Oh, sad it was. Warriors 187 defeated the Pirates 180. That was actually the closest game this week. All the others were well in the double digits. Margins there. Pirates had 10 players. Warriors had the full complement of 12. I think every team's going to do this to the Pirates. They're going to not give them a chance. But the Warriors, superbly led by Paul Kirby. Who would have thought? 33 points for Paul. Good job, Paul. First time that you've actually played in the wind and the rain, so I'm proud of you. Matty Miles had 33, so Paulie's got the book.
Paul's got the book. Well done, Paul.
Matt Miles 33, Ian Lachlan 31, Rod Allen 30, Brian Bell 30, and then Julie Milne and Pete DeFazio all had 30 as well. Mm-hmm. While the Pirates, best score for them was Darren Heaton on 32. Johnny Powell had 31, Scuba Hub had 31, Raviani 30, Yvette Pollock 29, and Ribs King actually scored probably for the first time this year on 27.
Good on you, Ribs.
But the Warriors responded to the call at arms to get everyone there. The Warriors actually had the win and they slipped to 5th on the ladder. That's how close it is, just due to percentage there. We did have an incident on course where Ian Lachlan was quite irate with his playing partners. Oh. Ian hit a drive and Ian didn't see it, and then his playing partners didn't see it. And he called sabotage, Premier League sabotage, that they were against him.
What, they weren't looking?
Yeah, the only problem was that they weren't playing against him, they were on different teams, so there was no reason for them not to see it, but yeah, he was quite agitated there, but bad luck, Lockie, you better keep your eye on your own ball from now on. But the Pirates were always on the back foot, even with their early golfers struggling to reach 30, and while the Warriors had Malsey and Buffett Allen 30, and also the oldest competitor, Pete DeFazio. Yeah. The Warriors didn't have fantastic scores, but they did enough to win. They were just playing poor, though, the Pirates. I did hear that our little 13th player at home was unable to do scoring this week. Maybe that had an impact on their...
No, Mrs. Scuba?
No, Mrs. Scuba Hub was unavailable. Mickey McNeil was a withdrawal due to the excessive winds, apparently. Not sure.
Our most imposing physical specimen.
Yep, he was just, apparently it was the wind. I'm not sure if it was the wind or because you were playing for the Warriors, but update on the Rickometer, Timmy Benham, 26, was an improvement from 19, Tim. But Mark, we need to go to you.
Oh, I thought we might have just dodged it.
Now, I think, was it 25 24 points.
Yeah, 24.
Now, I have had some murmurings from some players that you've been nicknamed the Curse.
Well, when
Mark the Curse Hayes.
When it was announced over the microphone to the first tee, I thought it was a fair chance that you'd do something.
Yeah, I think it's based on your non-influential scoring for a team. But
I think it's because I'm getting assailed in the car park when I rock up.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
Did you get that as well?
I got assailed this time by, well, a few people actually, but Ian Francis gave it to me and he scored 23. So that was
Well,
intriguing.
I actually think it's a bit unfair.
Do you?
Because do you realise that you've played 4 games and the teams that you've been involved with, you've got a record of 3 wins, 1 loss.
Oh,
So maybe it's just your presence there.
yeah.
And Johnny leading, the great man, it's cost you $4.16 a point for Saturday. So your $100 worked well. At least he doesn't have to pay double because you scored.
That's true. That is true. I like to think of myself as sort of Mike Brearley.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not worth my spot in the team, but the impact I have in the leadership sense.
Well, you've got that because I think your presence is just imposing the opposition, but the team lifts around you.
I've single-handedly destroyed the Pirates twice now.
Yeah,
Twice.
it's been great.
It's been extraordinary.
Just imagine when you play next and if you play the Pirates again. Wow.
I did have a bit of a journey down the road between the 13th and the 8th.
Yes, I did receive footage of that, which we might just put up there now.
I think it might have been Joy Francis going across the crosswalk there from the 3rd to the 4th. Didn't offer any assistance.
Didn't she?
Just a hearty laugh.
Oh, really? Was it your ball over there or someone else's?
Unfortunately, it was my ball. I know
Okay.
that my warrior in arms, Jill Barker, didn't know if I was playing the 13th or the 8th. She told me.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, it wasn't a pretty Saturday afternoon.
No, well, you've got 2 weeks to recover now, and then go full steam ahead into round 8 when we resume.
Did have fun with the girls playing, so that was good. That was good. Let's check the ladder, Matty. The halfway ladder. A lot of trends emerging here now. We've got one of the tightest ladders we've seen in a long time. Do you realise that the top teams lost 3 weeks in a row? Pirates twice and now Crusaders once.
Oh, right.
So it's really set the table up from the Crusaders down to the Bullies from 1st to 6th, only 1 game in percentage.
Separates it, yeah.
So you could move from way down to way up really quickly, or vice versa, of course, in the Pirates case. Hookers, massive question mark. Peakers, mathematically possible.
Well, they are. The Peakers are only 4 games out of the top 4. Like, they're only 5 games off top spot. And there's still 7 rounds to go, so they can do it.
Some other teams will have to win at some stage.
Yeah, but no, I've still got faith in my Peakers.
Your Peakers. All right, let's go. Are we going into the round 8 or the mid-season?
You're the director here, Mark. I'll go by you. I'll be guided.
Oh, all right. Well, let's go for the mid-season review so far. This is where the missile sort of does his best work on the statistical front.
No, we're going to actually have some good. It's going to be positive reviews. Yes, very positive. So we've obviously played 7 rounds now. Of our 96 players that have competed, actually 27 have played all 7 games.
Is that right?
Which is great.
Yeah.
The Crusaders, 7 of their players have played all 7.
And it shows we're at the top of the ladder.
Yeah, top of the ladder. So total rounds played. So the Crusaders and the Bullies, they've had the most active playing group. They've had 74 rounds competed there, while the Hookers down the bottom, they've only had 60. So so they need to have a few of theirs on the park, aka Choco Royal. She was hoping for her team to invest a little bit more there. Highest scoring average for the players this year, or last year, at best was 33.4. This year, Pat Peacock leads it.
Does she?
Yep, 34.3.
Good on you.
Stewie Anderson, 34.2. Would you believe Dale Pollock and wifey Yvette are averaging the same?
No,
33.6.
Wow, that's incredible.
And then we've got Tickle My Doodah, Josh Kent and Snags Finnemore, 33.4. So that's our highest scoring averages for the first 7 rounds. We've had 10 players that have had their score count every round so far this season, and this is interesting, Hazy. For the Goblins, Pat Peacock and Josh Kent. Peakers, Tickle My Doodah and Marion Keskinen. Tornadoes, Dale Pollock, Colin Isbell. The Hookers have got 4.
Have they really?
Yeah, because they've only got obviously a low number of players, so the low scores count.
Yeah.
But Robbie Moorcroft, Soupy Collins, Paddy Kennedy, Stu Anderson, they've all had their score count every time. Our high scores for the season, Bernie Reid had 43, Cooper McMurray 42, Judy Said and Pete O'Neill 41, then Cliffy McCorkle, John Rowe, Bobby Gibbs had 40, and then Flanders and Helen Powd had 39. So when I was going through last year's, the total number of scores over 40 so far through the first 7 is the equivalent of the whole 14 rounds last year. So
encouraging.
scoring is a lot better. Our highest aggregate scores total, Dale and Yvette Pollock on 235 points.
Amazing.
Snag Finnemore on 234. Teams with players that have scored over 200 so far. Crusaders have had 6. The Bullies, Goblins, Tornadoes have had 4, while all the other teams have had 2. There, so that's interesting there. So we also have some annual awards at the end of the season, which is our All Portarlington team and then our Piss Poor Portarlington team. But for those, it's the best performed players in the grouping that you were selected in. So we always have 2 of our lowest handicap players, followed by the next 2 all the way through into our ladies as well. So I would say that the averages of everything is actually superior to last year in the All Portarlington team. Then in the Piss Poor team, from last year's team, I can proudly say that of the 10 members, 9 are actually playing this year. Only 1 didn't return.
That's good.
7 of them have had superior seasons to last year, which is great. They took on board their poor efforts last year. 1 is having a similar season, Andrew Wooten. Ando, you still need to put something out there. While 1 member of that team is worse, and
just trying to think
decidedly worse.
Is it a bloke?
It is a male,
Is he largely horizontal most Saturdays?
yes,
Does he barrack for St Kilda?
yes. Has a segment in our video named after him.
Rico!
Rick Edmondson is worse.
How? How is that even possible?
I don't know. He was horrible last year, but he's even worse this year. Can you believe it? I don't know what's happened to him.
The poor bugger. We do hope your back gets better very soon, Rick, because we want to eat our words.
Yeah, I don't
Mostly.
know.
You don't want to eat your words?
No, it's going to be like he's done his back, couldn't play, and then his Saints lost on Saturday night. He was going to go to the footy. Don't think he got to go, which was lucky for him because he was going with some Richmond supporters. So, but yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I think he was just laying on the couch. Jen had put stubbies and food next to him so he didn't have to reach too far because he couldn't get up. But no, he'll be right. 2 weeks off, Rico, and you'll be back in for round 8 and leading the charge.
I like it. I like it. All right, speaking of round 8, and in a couple of weeks' time, as Maddie says, there's 4 amazing games. We'll start just outside the 8, the 4 rather. It's a big game, particularly for the Bullies against the Hookers. This is one they've got to have.
Yeah, so last time they met, the Hookers actually smashed the Bullies, 207 to 189. Well, haven't things changed over the last 6 weeks? In that match, they were superbly led by Helen Powell, Paddy Kennedy and Rob Moorcroft. Actually, they've all gone missing the last 3 weeks. While the Bullies had Ange Foote, Jen Edmondson, top score for the team. Hookers have lost 5 of their last 6, while the Bullies have won their last 2, and one of those was against the Goblins. Last time they met, Choco Royal and Chris James didn't have scores counted, while Manny, Sweeney and Sean Rodwell didn't trouble the scorers either for the Bullies. For this round, the Bullies will need Kevin Hudson. 1 scorer's counted in the last 5, and his last 3 rounds have been under 30 points. Now, Kev, you have a bull tattoo on your body, and you put that rubbish up for your team. Sweeney, you've had 1 score count, and you haven't scored over 32. For a low single-figure golfer, you are better than that. Peter Vogel, your last 2 have been 24 and 26 points. That does not cut it. Hookers, you aren't off scot-free either. Ian Francis, you had the monumental meltdown 2 weeks ago in round 6. What did you do in round 7? 23. Obviously didn't learn anything. Chris Dodds, you're better than that too from your recent performances. All Portarlington player. About time you put something in there for the team of about 36 or 38.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very sharp. All right, the second game we want to look at is, well, it's a bit of a mismatch on paper anyhow. It's the Crusaders on top of the ladder versus your mob,
The Peakers.
the Peakers, at the bottom.
Yeah, well, it probably comes as no surprise that the Peakers lost this game in round 1.
Not much of a surprise.
They were smoked 221 to 194. That was the highest score so far for the season accrued by any team. The Peakers only had 8 players that the last time they met. They were well served by David Milne, Tickle My Doodah and Barry Doyle, while the Crusaders had all 12, with Cooper having 42, Corky 40, and Snags and Josh Boeing all with 36. If the Crusaders just turn up in their current form, they should be too good, but they will be hoping McCorkle, after his Rickometer blazing, will find a bit of form. Bobby Gibbs and Hemroyd Thompson need to find some consistency, while the Peakers, all of them need to take a good, deep look inside themselves. If they show some intestinal fortitude, this could be the greatest comeback in sporting history. Like when Essendon were 10 goals down against North Melbourne in the second quarter.
No.
When they announced Kingston Town can't win.
Yeah.
Like this could be like the Peakers. Imagine being 0-7, coming back, winning your next 7, making finals and then winning the lot. Imagine.
I can't.
It'd be a Cinderella story.
It would be a Cinderella story, but it's beyond my comprehension right now.
Well, they've got 3 players that are averaging over 31. The Peakers, Marion Keskinen, Flanders and Tickle My.
Wow.
While the immediate form of Yarni, McMuffin, David Milne, Barry Doyle and Lynn Kirby is of a concern.
Should be a powerhouse.
They haven't reached 30 points in their last 2 rounds.
When's this crisis meeting happening?
Well, I'm not sure. Well, Yarni sent a message out that he can't wait for this stupid competition to be over. He loved it when he was in the winning team and he was a Drayton medalist, but now he's off it altogether. So Yarni, it's about time that you try and bring your team together and pull them together and really get them on the same page.
Extraordinary behaviour, Yanni. Now, I would say nearly, well, there's 2 matches that are vying for match of the round status, but in terms of significance to the 4, the Goblins 4th against the Warriors 5th is right up there.
Yeah, well, you would think match of the round, but then we've also got 2nd versus 3rd. But yeah, this one's going to be a cracker. Only 0.2% separates them on the ladder. Last time they met, the Warriors won 205 to 183. It's so evenly matched there. Like they've both won their last 2 of their last 3. The Warriors were led by Pete DeFazio, 38, Skeeter, 37, while the Goblins had Buzz and Pat Peacock as their top scorers. But those top scores were only 35 and 32 though. The Warriors were able to get over the line without the help of John Leading and my mother. They had 22 when they met last time. Surely they can't do that again. Brian Bell had 25 and Timmy Benham actually had his best score of the season, 30. When they last met, while the Goblins had, Rick had 26 and Pete O'Neill had 16.
His best score for the year.
Wouldn't be far off it, I wouldn't have thought. But yeah, they both teams have a couple of players who'd be hoping that they can influence the contest. Warriors have 4 players averaging under 30. Julie Milne, Buffed, Skeeter and Timmy Benham. Just give your team something. They can't carry you for the rest of the rounds and into finals. While the Goblins, they also have 4 players averaging under 30.
Who are they?
What's that?
Dog.
Ian Woodhouse.
Rooster.
Rick Edmondson, Peter O'Neill and Rhino. They've all averaged under 30. Now, I reckon Rhino might be back for round 8. Because he can't stay in the UK for another 2 weeks. The horse only runs next Saturday night. So I reckon he'll be back and he'll be chomping at the bit.
If it wins.
Oh, he might stay over there for another month.
He might follow the actions around. Right, well that brings us to the final game for preview. Is the Tornadoes, number 2 ranked team, against the Pirates, 3 with, not a bullet, with an anchor.
Yes, well, how the mighty have fallen. In particular, the Pirates. Do you remember what they did last time they met, Hazy?
I would have thought it was a draw, was it?
It was a draw.
Yeah, wow.
196 to 196. We look at the ladder now and they are on the same points, but the Tornadoes have the superior percentage. When they met last time, the highest scores for the Tornadoes, the Sword. He had 35.
Gee,
look how far he's fallen.
It's a long time ago.
Collie's Bell, Flea Pollock had 33, while the Pirates were led by the fair weather golfer, Michael McNeil. He'd had 36. Prime Time, he had 34, and Heaton had 33.
Who was that?
Yeah, I don't know if he's still a member of their team. He hasn't shown for 2 weeks.
Nice.
On current form, you'd think the Tornadoes would go in red-hot favourites after winning their last 2, while the Pirates are in the slump of losing their last 2. When they last met, they had no help from John Powell, Yvette Pollock, Scuba Hub, Justin McGrath. Did a bit of a form slump, McGrath. They're 25 on Saturday.
Is he really?
23-25 the last 2 games. Not sure what Tickle My Doodah did to him up in Queensland, but he hasn't came back the same person. While the Tornadoes, James Finch, Swaney and Ando did nothing in the last time they played. Recent form needs some improvement. Tornadoes would hope Doreen Ivers, the Sword and Swaney can improve, while the Pirates will be hoping Prime Time will turn up, McNeil will return, and Jay McGrath can find something.
What's the threshold temperature for Mickey, you reckon?
Well, being a plumber, I would have thought he would have been used to being in sort of awkward conditions, but yeah, he's apparently, the boys just said he pulled out on Saturday because it was too windy. Not sure if that's true or not, I haven't heard, but that was the rumour going around.
Wow. Any more you want to add?
No, I think I might have covered everyone actually.
I think you just about have. You've sprayed a few. That's it for round 7, and that's the first half of the Premier League season done. Big thanks as always to Neville Richards, to Travis Matthew and your fine establishment, the Your Golf Pro shop. Well done.
Thank you, Mark.
Callaway, our team down there, and of course to the club for the books. I'll get them, they'll be in the pro shop, everything will be in the pro shop, and I think, as you said earlier, the Tornadoes are the winning team this week in terms of scores, so there'll be the Callaway balls.
And then Alan Kerry was the Travis Matthew polo.
Nice.
So, good job, guys.
Well done, good first half of the year. Go away, steal yourselves, and we'll see you in a couple
Of weeks, round 8. Looking forward to it.